The bogs of northern Europe were never meant to keep secrets. They were meant to swallow them. Stretching across Denmark, Ireland, Germany, the Netherlands, and parts of Britain, these vast wetlands appear quiet on the surface, flat horizons, wind-rippled grasses, pools of dark water reflecting the sky. But beneath the peat lies one of the most unsettling archives of human history. Here, time does not move forward normally. It slows, thickens, and traps whatever enters it. When ancient people lowered bodies into these wetlands, they were not burying their dead in the way we understand burial. They were surrendering them to a place that devours decay and preserves memory. What the bogs returned centuries later were not skeletons, but faces that still seem to remember dying. Bodies that refuse to disappear. Most human remains left in the earth follow a predictable path. Flesh decays, muscles loosen, bones scatter. Identity fades into anonymity. The bog bodies defy this process entirely. Peat bogs are cold, acidic, and nearly devoid of oxygen. These conditions tan human skin like leather, preserving it while dissolving bone. Hair, fingernails, even internal organs survive. When archaeologists first cut into peat layers expecting to find ancient tools or timber, they instead uncovered people who looked disturbingly recent. Some had stubble still visible on their chins, others had eyelashes intact. Their fingerprints could still be read, but it was their faces that froze excavators in place. The expressions were wrong. Mouths hung open as if caught mid-cry. Brows were knotted in pain or fear. Lips were pulled tight, not relaxed in death. In some cases, tongues protruded slightly between teeth, a classic sign of strangulation. Death, it seemed, had never finished its work. Ritual, not murder early discoveries, were dismissed as accident victims, travelers who wandered into the bog and drowned. But as more bodies were recovered, patterns emerged that could not be ignored. Many bog bodies showed evidence of deliberate, repeated violence. A man might have a noose around his neck, a slit throat, and a crushed skull all on the same body. Another might bear stab wounds, broken ribs, and signs of drowning. These were not crimes of passion or random killings. They were carefully structured deaths. Archaeologists came to call this the triple death, a ritual execution believed to satisfy multiple gods at once, one of strangulation, one of blood, one of immersion. The victims were not merely killed, they were transformed into offerings. Some were well-fed, with manicured nails and no signs of hard labor. Their stomach contents showed last meals of bread, porridge, or seeds consumed shortly before death. These were not criminals or outcasts, they were chosen. To be sacrificed to the bog was not necessarily a punishment. It may have been an honor or a terrible duty imposed upon the selected individual. The gods beneath the water to ancient communities, bogs were not wastelands. They were thresholds. The wetland marked the boundary between the human world and the divine. Offerings placed there were not meant to return. Weapons were bent before deposition. Jewelry was broken. People, too, were altered before surrender. The bog accepted what was given and held it in perpetual suspension, neither alive nor properly dead. This belief gives the bog bodies their unsettling power. They were meant to exist between states, not ancestors. Not ghosts? Something else entirely. Perhaps that is why their expressions endure. Faces that still speak. Modern forensic analysis shows that many bog bodies died violently and quickly, but not instantly. Some struggled, some inhaled water. Some suffocated slowly as ropes tightened. And yet, even in violent death, facial muscles usually relax, rigor mortis fades. Expressions soften. But in the bogs, the chemical environment arrests the face at the moment of death. Fear does not fade. Pain does not release. Visitors who view these bodies in museums often describe an unexpected emotional reaction, not curiosity, not academic interest, but discomfort and intense visceral awareness of being observed. The eyes may be closed, but the face still communicates. It accuses, it pleads, it remembers. These are not anonymous remains. They are moments. The uncanny silence despite the violence inflicted upon them. Bog bodies are eerily peaceful in repose. Their limbs are often folded, their skin smooth and darkened like polished wood. They appear asleep except for the expressions frozen into them. This contradiction, violent death paired with serene preservation, creates an effect that unsettles even seasoned researchers. The bodies do not look ancient, they look paused. Some archaeologists admit quietly that working with bog bodies feels different, that excavation sites feel heavy, that conversations lower in volume without explanation, that the moment a face emerges from the peat, something in the air changes. Science explains the preservation. It does not explain the atmosphere. What the bogs chose to keep thousands of bodies likely entered the bogs over millennia. Only a fraction have been found. The rest remain sealed below, compressed into peat that continues to grow. Why some bodies surface and others do not remains unclear. Peat cutting exposes them accidentally. Drainage reveals them unwillingly. The bog does not release its dead on a schedule. Some researchers have wondered whether the bodies we find are the ones meant to be found warnings rather than offerings, faces left intact to confront the future. The idea is uncomfortable but difficult to dismiss when standing before a face that looks as if it died yesterday. A death that never ends. Unlike skeletons, bog bodies resist emotional distance. Bones allow us to forget fear. Skin does not. When we look at these faces, we do not see symbols or statistics. We see individuals caught in the last second of their lives. Their terror has weight. It presses forward through centuries. The bogs did not simply preserve bodies. They preserved suffering. And in doing so, they transformed sacrifice into a message, one that has outlived the gods it was meant to appease. The bogs still wait today. Many bogs have been drained, harvested, or destroyed. But those that remain are still active, still deepening, still sealing layers of time beneath them. What else lies below is unknown. What is certain is this: the bogs do not forget. They hold on to moments humanity would rather leave behind. And when they choose to give something back, it is never gentle. The frozen screams of the bog bodies are not audible. They do not echo through air or water. They exist in the face itself, in the knowledge that fear can outlast history, and that death, under the right conditions, never truly finishes its work.